All right, I am here with Terrace Crawford, and you have a new project in the works, and I was wondering if you'd be willing just to share a little bit about what this new project is.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy, for setting this up. I've been working on a project for quite a while now. It's actually been close to a year. It's a book called Going Social, a practical guide on social media for church leaders. And it's actually due out this September 1. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be published through Beacon Hill Press out of Kansas City. And basically it's a book for church leaders, of course, that will really help people kind of enter kind of an entry level to social media. There's a lot of church leaders out there that are using social media, but there's so many that I meet that really aren't using it. Even churches, not just leaders, but churches that are not leveraging social media in any sort of way. I'm talking blogs and YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and even Pinterest and different platforms. And they're not leveraging these tools in any sort of way when, in the corporate world, so many corporations and organizations are using these very effectively. And so I asked the question, in writing this book, why not? Why is the church not doing this? Why are we not leveraging these tools that are at our hands when, in this digital age, we can really spread the gospel and really meet the community where they are with the tools that we've been given.
So tell me a little bit, as you're writing this book, there's a lot of different social media people out there. I feel like you're one of the top dogs as far as doing social media in youth ministry. And so you probably got a lot of experience with this. I was wanting to know, what are some of the different stories you've heard as far as the church using social media?
Well, actually, that was one of my favorite parts of writing this project, Jeremy, is I have a chapter in the book where I tell 20 stories of church leaders and churches and even organizations around the world that are leveraging social media. And it was really neat for me just to interview, some of these folks that I interviewed were representing their organization or really church. I really kind of tried to focus as much as possible on the church at large. They were representing their church or they were representing themselves. And, some might be stories that you've heard of that are familiar to you, but I would say the vast majority of the stories that I tell from these interviews are really ones that are new. Many of them were new to me. I even spent a great deal of time researching, finding some folks, even through news outlets such as Time or USA Today and things like that, where they told stories about church leaders who were using social media in neat ways. So it was really cool to connect with them and really just to be able to highlight, what ways they're using social media to reach people and to connect with people.
Yeah, I love it. Now, we've talked a lot about just the different ideas of social media with the church, but there's a lot of different ways you can use it. You can connect with friends from past school, high school, something like that, network with different other youth workers, as well as corporations, I think, make a lot of money off of this. There's a lot of money to be made through social media. Where do you see the biggest impact for the church to be able to use social media?
Well, you're right in that corporations are using these tools to make a lot of money, but there's also a lot of charity work being done. They use it and leverage it for a lot of humanitarian efforts. And the church is doing this in some respects, but I would say the church at large has not really truly embraced it as much as they could possibly do. I know that's true because I talk with so many church leaders on a weekly basis, from pastors to worship leaders, small group leaders, youth pastors, children's pastors, all of these workers in the church that, might have tapped into social media personally, but they're not engaging it as a church. They're not engaging it, as a larger entity here. And really, trying to connect with people, to either get them involved in their church or just to meet them where they are in the community and do life together and share in helping the community at large. And so, this book is really kind of birthed out of that. Just conversations that I've had You know, I've had numerous conversations with youth pastors, particularly because that's where I find myself working the most. That's where I've been called to, and you know, they have a holy frustration of, you know, kind of ongoing, you know, because many of their pastors really disagree with being on social media or being connected, you know, at all. And I think we can. I really try in the book to really, you know, kind of disarm a lot of folks that might have some hesitation, might not want to, you know, engage or leverage social media. And I think through, you know, the step-by-step process, there's several chapters that are dedicated to just how you get started. And I share a few stories about how it's affected my life, some things that I've been able to learn and even be helped by through using social media. And then, of course, you know, sharing stories from people around the world who are using it in ministry. And I just think that, you know, we've just begun to scratch the surface of what you know, this whole world of social media can do, and how God can use it to help us to be more effective in reaching people.
So good. I love it. I feel like everything you just said has kind of been my past year and a half, as far as not only investing myself and investing ministry-wise, but just hearing a lot of the stories, a lot of the questions. So really excited about seeing what comes out of this. So how should the church effectively use youth ministry or use social media? You talked a lot about what we could do, talked about where the impact is. The effective part, I think, is from my experience been the biggest thing, because you can have your own personal account, you can have your ministry account, and 10 hours later in a single day, you're still on Facebook, and what have you really accomplished? So
right.
How can the church effectively use social media?
Well, I think that's such a huge question. I don't think we have time to even tackle. But, you know, I mean, just me personally speaking, I have tried to use social media just to connect with people, you know, heart to heart, life to life, just sharing in people's lives, to encourage them to share scripture, to invite them to church, you know, share what's going on with me and with them, and just doing life together through the use of these tools. And I think if we can get that personally, then we need to translate that to the ministries that we are involved in. And, you know, I see this happening, you know, in the life of churches, you know, even here locally where I am near Virginia Beach. And I know it's happening in different pockets all over the nation and all over the world. But, you know, like I said, this book is written just to encourage those churches that aren't really tapped in or dialed into using social media to really give it a chance, because I think that, just as I mentioned earlier, we've just begun to really engage people, and people are gathering online. People are having conversations on a daily basis in your community. And, you know, if we can be a part of that, and we can, you know, share what we're learning about Christ and share what our church is about, and really just partner with people that are already really an advocate for something. There's so many people in our community, in your own community, that are an advocate for something. They love being involved in making their community better, making their neighborhoods better, making their lives better. And I know that our churches are for that. I know that's what we are for. And we can be an advocate for those things. We can share, you know, our lives and partner with those people, but we give them Jesus. And, you know, I think that's really what it's about. And so, you know, this book is just really an advocate for that.
I love it. So you essentially have taken this idea of social media as a tool and said, let's be relational for it.
Yeah.
I love it. So this research,
I hope that when people read this book, Going to Social, I hope that by the time they finish, you know, the book, that they go, you know, that's what this whole book is about. It's about, you know, me just connecting with others, you know, and using tools that God has really given us to be able to do that.
So for those that are wanting this resource, tell us when and where we can get it.
Well, the book releases nationwide on September 1st. So it's Labor Day weekend, and right now it's available on Amazon.com for pre-order.
Okay, great. Well, we'll definitely provide that link below. And did you want to plug your Twitter or website or anything like that?
I blog at terracecrawford.com. I also have a Twitter at Terrace Crawford, Terrace Crawford, and you can find me there as well.
Great. Well, we'll definitely have those links as well. So thank you so much for just getting with us and talking about your new book, and we're excited to see it when it comes out.
Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, man. Have a good day.